What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. What's good? What's good? What's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields the second. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, especially if you're new. If you're new here, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me a shot. You got options out there. You got a lot of people doing dope things. A lot of people doing great things on their channels and their respective platforms of content. People are doing phenomenal things. You have a ton of options, yet you gave me a shot today. And I promise you, we will not disappoint you here at Chalk It Up Sports. We're giving you energy. We're giving you passion. We're giving you analysis. We're giving you a rather adult way of looking at the game while still throwing our jabs at the opposition with a little sprinkle of immaturity. We got to have fun with this thing. So make sure you guys stay engaged, smash that like button. Make sure you guys continue to comment below. Don't be afraid to donate to the channel as well. You guys are always free to do so, no pressure. And I appreciate all my members. All my members have been phenomenal. And you guys have truly, truly been the bedrock of this platform, the bedrock of this channel. So I appreciate you guys for being amazing contributors as well. So make sure you guys continue to stay engaged. Make sure you guys are smashing that like button. Okay. So, and by the way, let me give a birthday shout out to my girl Fanny. Miss Fanny, happy birthday, girl. Happy birthday. She turned what is it? They said she turned 54. Get out of here. Get out of here, Miss Fanny. Stop playing. Get out of here. But we appreciate y'all for locking in on the content, especially if you're new, man. Stay engaged. So, and also, sorry about the little hiccup. The little Wi-Fi is a little shaky right now. That should clean itself up as the show progresses. But I appreciate you guys nonetheless. So, let's get this ball rolling here. Let's talk about what we plan on talking about. So, you know, I've been thinking about the Eagles receiver position. I was watching Jalen Hurts' press conference recently. I think he spoke a few days ago. And I rewatched it because I wanted to double back and make sure I heard what I heard. He brought up, how he's been spending extra time with Jahan Dotson and Terrace Marshall. And, Jalen Hurts, he's a really big trust guy. He's a big trust guy. If he doesn't trust you, he won't throw you the ball. Now, that seems like something that's pretty standard for the quarterback position. It probably is. Regardless, you got to earn the trust of that quarterback. If the quarterback can't trust you, he's likely not going to go to you in big situations. Now, when you think about the Eagles wide receiver position, right? Obviously, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, those guys are your big money guys. Those are the guys that you're going to throw the ball to if they're on the football field. Dallas Goedert as well, right? Dallas Goedert, he's on a one-year deal right now, and his future is still unwritten. But when it comes to the pecking order, in terms of who Jalen Hurts trusts the most with the ball in his hand in big money situations, you got to go A.J. Brown. You got to go Devontae Smith. You got to go Dallas Goedert. You got to go Saquon Barkley. Now, those are four guys who are capable of making something happen in space. Those are four guys who are capable of destroying any defense, no matter what the coverages are. We know Saquon can get effective in the passing game. We've seen that in the Super Bowl. He was very effective, especially on those check downs. Some of his best plays, his most iconic play as an Eagle came with him catching the ball from the backfield. So the Eagles have options, 4 viable options to pass the ball to. But as we saw in 2024, it wasn't the Eagles didn't consistently have all their guys at the receiver position. Right? There were stretches in the season where Dallas Goedert was gone. There was a stretch of the season where Devontae was gone. There was a 4-game stretch where A.J. Brown was gone. If I'm doing the math correctly here, make sure I got this right. If I'm doing the math correctly, A.J. Brown missed 4 games. Devontae missed 4 games, so that's 8. And Dallas missed 7. So 8 plus 7, that's 15. So A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert missed a combined 15 games together. That's 15 games where you potentially didn't have your full gamut of receivers. Right? Now, Saquon, he played in every game. Obviously not the last one because, the starters didn't play. And the same thing goes for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Those guys didn't play in the last game. Dallas Goedert did, but A.J. Brown and Devontae didn't play in the last game. But regardless, A.J. Brown had a hamstring injury. Devontae, I think he was dealing with a concussion or something like that, right? Something of the nature. There may be a game where A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith can't get up to play, right? Whatever it may be, concussion, hamstring tweak, ankle, whatever it may be. There may, I'm knock on wood, right? But there may be a situation where A.J. Brown and or Devontae Smith can go. Maybe Dallas Goedert's there. Maybe Saquon's there. Any combination of those guys, it may happen. That's just football. It's the nature of the game. So now we get to, and in particular, I want to focus on the depth guys at receiver. I know I mentioned tight end. I know I mentioned running back, but I want to focus on the wide receiver position in particular. Like I said, we know what A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are going to give us. Perennial guys who are capable of giving you over 1,000 yards a season, between 6, 7, 8, 9 touchdowns a season. Guys averaging between 13 to 16 yards per reception. These guys get open. They're always open. Two of the best receivers in football. A.J. Brown is the best receiver in football. I'll put my money on that. You feel what I'm saying? Devontae Smith, in my opinion, the best number 2 receiver in football. I'll put my money on that. I'm rolling with him. That's just my preference. So now we get the guys like Jahan Dotson. We get the guys like Terrace Marshall Jr., Johnny Wilson, Anias Smith. And interestingly enough, both Jahan Dotson and Anias Smith, they have a strong reverence for A.J. Brown, especially Anias Smith. Anias Smith, there's a video on YouTube with A.J. Brown and Anias Smith getting some runs in at the Eagle Stadium at Lincoln Financial Field. They're pretty much running all the steps in the stadium on the lower levels, and they ran the entire stadium. And A.J. Brown and Anias had several minutes after the workout where they were talking about visualization and seizing opportunity and taking advantage of what's meant for you. And when something is meant for you, nothing can stop you. Nothing can stop it. It's an unstoppable force. When something is meant for you, when it's your time, it's your time. Right? AJ Brown said, I'll be honest, when I saw my face, when I saw they put me on the side of that stadium, it lit another fire in me. He's spoken openly about how the Super Bowl, although it's an accomplishment, it's fun, it's exciting, you love to win it. But once you reach that mountaintop, there's a struggle trying to rediscover a new challenge, or there's a struggle in finding that new fire. And how the Super Bowl, although it's great, it's not why it's not what motivates him every single day. What motivates him is the journey, the work, the path, dominating corners across from him, right? That's the mentality that Jahan Dotson, Terrace Marshall Jr., Johnny Wilson, and Anias Smith, that's the mindset these guys are trying to adopt. Now, Jahan, he's been here for a year. He got traded here last offseason. Terrace Marshall signed on as a free agent. Johnny Wilson and Anias Smith were drafted here last season. And Anias Smith really didn't get much burn. I think Anias did score a touchdown in the final game of the season. In the final game of the season, he was Tanner McKee was the quarterback, so he was able to make an impact there. Jahan Dotson, he was able to make an impact in the final game as well. But Jahan Dotson really made his impact in the playoffs. And you know, his numbers weren't Jahan Dotson's numbers weren't extravagant. Sorry about the Wi-Fi, you guys. I appreciate you locking in. But Jahan's numbers weren't what he's used to seeing at this point, right? Now, granted, he hasn't really had that breakout season yet. You know, we're going to dog walk this thing. We're going to go player by player and try to discuss our expectations for Jahan Dotson, Terrace Marshall Jr., Johnny Wilson, and Anias Smith, because the competition is boiling. We know AJ, Devontae, they're good as gold. But some of these guys are on one-year deals, like Jahan Dotson and Terrace Marshall. They got 1 year left on their current contracts. They're going to be free agents in 2026. Johnny Wilson and Anias Smith, those brothers are in their second year of their rookie deals, so they're not going to be free agents until 2028. Right? The Eagles also brought in some undrafted free agents at wide receiver. Darius Cooper, Taylor Morin, Giles Jackson. Right? There's a lot of bodies at that receiver position. Now, because of what Dotson's done for the Eagles and how much experience he has in comparison to those other guys, Jahan Dotson's going to make the roster. That's not a question, right? I think the questions start to get a little interesting once you get beyond Jahan Dotson. Because I think for me, I look at Jahan Dotson as a guy that's going to have to continue to get in where he fits in. He's going to have to continue to get in where he fits in. Let me get to the super chat. Kyle Kokorski, thank you so much for donating to the channel. If you guys want to donate to the channel, all you got to do is hit that super chat button at the bottom. If you're locked in on the phone, it should be at the bottom of the chat. If you want to donate to the channel, that's entirely up to you. Kyle Kokorski, thank you for the $5, my friend. He says, Tone, why is it every time we play the Bucs, I'm nervous? You know what, man? It's some people that buy into that Bucs thing. I don't really care about it personally. I don't really care about the whole thing because it doesn't really matter. It ultimately doesn't matter if they beat the Bucs or if they lose to the Bucs. It really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, we learned that firsthand with the way the season went last year. Started out 2-2, lost to the Bucs, lost to the Falcons. We honestly should have manhandled the NFC South. We should have manhandled the NFC South, but for some reason, the NFC South gave us a hard way to go in 2024. I don't know if you guys have really did the science on that, but in 2024, the NFC South, which is the worst division in football, probably, they gave us a hard way to go. New Orleans pushed us to the brink. Atlanta stole a game from us. The Buccaneers handled us. And the Carolina Panthers pushed us to the brink. That's very interesting. I don't know what that's about. I do not know what that's about. But, you know, I think Jalen Hurts is undefeated against New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. I think Jalen Hurts is undefeated against New Orleans in his career. Obviously the Bucs is murky. Trying to think what else, you know, but regardless though, I don't really buy too much into it. Thank you for the super chat, Kyle. I appreciate it. Fanny has super chat as well. Happy birthday again, Miss Fanny. She says Dotson was the first round pick. We need to see why. It's going to be hard to see why when you got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith in front of you. Like, I know what you mean. Like, you want to give him opportunities, but AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, that's the pecking order right there. Everybody else, you get in where you fit in. So, although Dotson was a first round pick, and I think Dotson is talented, I think Dotson showed in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl in particular that he knows how to beat his man. He knows how to run his routes. He knows how to do his job. He can catch. He can be trusted in big moments. That was a big catch. That was the big catch in the Super Bowl for Jahan Dotson. I think he had another catch too in that game. Let me double check this. Yeah, in the Super Bowl, Dotson had 3 targets, 2 catches for 42 yards. His longest catch of the day was 27 yards. And he had a 15-yard catch. So, you know, Dotson was able to move the chains for the Eagles on 2 separate occasions in that Super Bowl. So he's definitely talented. And playing with Devontae and A.J. Brown, it's only going to make him better. As Blunt with a super chat as well. He says, in my opinion, the best wide receiver core in Eagles history. I mean, you gotta. I can't argue with you, bro. I can't argue with you at all. I cannot argue with you at all, man. You know, one of my favorite cores, or one of my favorite duos outside of AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. One of my favorite duos was Jeremy Maclin and Deshaun Jackson. I wish those guys could have played with each other more. It always seemed like those guys were 2 ships passing in the night. It always felt like, you know, whenever Maclin was on, D-Jack was either hurt or whatever it may be, or whenever D-Jack was on, Maclin got hurt. It just seemed like we really didn't maximize that Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin duo. I would have really loved to see what that duo could have done fully healthy over an extended period of time. I'm a big Maclin fan. When we drafted Maclin out of Mizzou, I was really excited about Jeremy Maclin. Obviously, you think about the OGs, you know, Mike Quick, Harold Carmichael. Mike Quick and Harold Carmichael, they didn't play that long together. Those guys, I think Harold Carmichael was on the tail end of his career when Mike Quick, was coming in. You got to throw in Urban Fryer in there as well. So, I think I would have to agree with S. Blunt. What you think about this wide receiver core right now? Like even if you just stop at Jahan Dotson, if you go AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jahan Dotson, is there a better trio that the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had in history? Is there a better trio? I don't think there is. If you stop at Jahan Dotson, AJ Brown, Smitty, Jahan Dotson, I don't know if we could find a better trio in the Eagles' history at any point. And the operative word is trio. So thank you for the super chat, as Blunt. And we got Alex here with a super chat as well. He says, read a report that said Marshall and Danny Gray were looking good in OTAs, while Wilson not so much. Also, Steen potentially has the right guard job locked up. Yeah, I'm not worried about Steen with that right guard spot. I think ultimately Tyler Steen will be the right guard to start the season. He has too much experience. He has playoff experience. He started the entire NFC Championship game. He's played a lot of meaningful snaps for the Philadelphia Eagles. Has experience playing both guard positions. You gotta continue to develop Steen. You brought him in for a reason. But as far as Marshall, Danny Gray looking good at OTAs, that's great to hear. That's exciting. Terrace Marshall, he's a guy who's on a one-year deal. He's trying to revitalize his career. Terrace Marshall, it's not like he's been in the league for a long time. Terrace Marshall is only, make sure I got this right here. He's only 25. Terrace Marshall's 25, and Jahan Dotson's 25 as well. Jahan Dotson is entering year 4 of his rookie deal, and Terrace Marshall is entering year 5 of his NFL career. Now, the Eagles decided not to pick up Jahan Dotson's option, so he will be a free agent after this season, and so will Terrace Marshall as well. So, and Terrace Marshall, both of these guys haven't had the exact start to their careers that they expected. Now, Jahan was a first-round pick. Terrace Marshall was a second-round pick. Terrace Marshall was drafted to the Carolina Panthers. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, big frame dude. He's known for playing next to Jamar Chase at LSU, when they won the national championship with Joe Burrow. He's an accomplished college receiver. Jahan Dotson, coming out of Penn State, from the Jersey area. So you think about those guys with 1 year left on their current contracts. This is a big year for them. This is a big year for. See, they're not only auditioning for the Eagles, they're also auditioning for the rest of the league, right? And you think about the traits these guys have. Jahan Dotson, I think Jahan Dotson is an underrated route runner. Very solid hands. Does what he's supposed to do out there. There's been plenty moments where Jahan Dotson, maybe he didn't get the ball, but he ran his route perfectly and opened things up for Smitty or opened things up for AJ or Goddard, whatever it may be. That doesn't get talked about much. A lot of people don't pay attention to the guys who don't touch the ball. But if you pay attention to some of those plays, you'll notice Jahan Dotson, in order for that play to work, Dotson had to do what he needed to do. He had to run his route. He had to run his route perfectly, or he had to set a pick for the receiver, whatever it may be, right? He had to get into the DB's line of traffic and kind of divert him to create space for the other wide receivers, right? Dotson is he does all the little things. Now, I think we have to, at least let me just speak for myself. I think I have to acknowledge that their numbers, Jahan Dotson or Terrace Marshall, they're not going to be extravagant. We have to enter the season and accept that their numbers aren't going to be eye-popping or jaw-dropping, right? For me, when I'm looking at these guys, Jahan Dotson, Terrace Marshall, Johnny Wilson, and Anias Smith, right? When I think about those 4 guys, we don't know who's going to get more snaps. I'm sure Dotson's going to get the bulk of those snaps out of those guys, but, you never know. You never know, right? It's a new year, training camp, guys fall out of favor, guys get better, whatever it may be. I think once we accept that their numbers aren't going to be extravagant, the next step is, okay, what are we going to be looking for then? How are we going to gauge their success? How are we going to quantify their contributions? Right? That's the next step in the conversation because their numbers aren't going to be extravagant. You got AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, and you got Jalen Hurts as options to move the ball. So once you accept that their touches are going to be far in between, now you ask yourself, okay, how do I judge this guy? Okay, is he running his routes perfectly? Is he in the right place at the right time? Is he catching the ball when it comes his way? How much does he step up if one of those big names go down for a quarter or a drive or a game or a couple weeks or a few weeks? That's going to be those are going to be our only avenues to really judge these guys. So if there's another team looking at these guys wanting to sign them, they're going to have to do the same thing. They're going to have to extrapolate what they saw and try to project that if those guys get other opportunities elsewhere. So, in my opinion, I think Dotson is somebody a year in the offense, another year older, having that playoff experience, seeing what greatness looks like, seeing what consistency and routine looks like with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, seeing what that looks like at the highest level, it'll change you. And when you see what you're capable of, like Jahan Dotson, him making plays in that Super Bowl, that does so much for his confidence. That does so much for how he projects himself going forward. Jahan Dotson he earned his ring. He didn't get the most touches throughout the season. But in the playoffs, when he needed to catch that ball in the wild card round for the touchdown, he caught it. When he needed to catch that go ball in the Super Bowl by Jalen Hurts, he did it. When he needed to move the chains, he did it. So, God forbid Devontae goes down. All right, Jahan, you playing next to AJ. That's a pretty good balancing of the scales. You know, what makes AJ Brown and Devontae so lethal and so fascinating as a duo is that their skill sets are polarizing to each other. They do different things. Their frame, their build, their approach to the position is very different. Devontae, more finesse, very precise route running, very silky smooth. Everything, he makes everything look the same. It's very hard to pinpoint what he's doing. Hands like glue. The toe tap genius. The ballerina. I mean, Devontae's footwork, his spatial awareness, his field awareness is second to none. Right? Then AJ Brown, the power receiver. Intensity, explosion. Run yards after the catch. That first step. Right? Hands like glue. But they mirror each other. They mirror each other. They're not they play the position differently. Now, Dotson and Smitty, they're more similar in build. So it'll be easier for a team to probably game plan for that. So again, it's always going to come down to the combinations. But regardless, though, I look at Jahan Dotson, I look at Terrace Marshall Jr. as guys on one-year deals who have to make an impact somehow, some way. so they can earn more money elsewhere. I don't know if the Eagles bring back Jahan Dotson. I don't know what Terrace Marshall's future is. Terrace Marshall Jr., his career hasn't been the best. 2021, only played in 13 games, 17 catches, 138 yards, no touchdowns. 2022, played in 14 games, 28 catches, 490 yards, averaged over 17 yards of reception, 1 touchdown. 2023, 9 games played, 19 catches, 139 yards, no touchdowns. 2024, 7 games played, 3 catches, 41 yards, no touchdown. So Terrace Marshall hasn't really been good these past couple seasons. He hasn't. Now, in fairness to him, I think Terrace Marshall has battled injuries over the past few seasons. You know, in 2022, he dealt with a shoulder strain. 2021, concussions in week 6 and week 7. Had a foot injury in 2021 as well. You know, he hasn't really been able to stabilize his career. He was carted off from practice in 2023 with a lower back lumbar sprain. 2022, leg calf strain. 2022, hamstring. So Terrace Marshall has battled injuries. And in 2024, he wasn't really able to make an impact with the Raiders. Now, granted, they didn't really have a good quarterback play, but still, nonetheless, couldn't really make an impact, couldn't really stand out. So now he gets another opportunity. You look at Terrace Marshall, you say 6'2", 200 pounds. You love to build, but can you be consistent catching the ball? Can you be consistent running your routes? Can you do the little things, right? He's not going to be returning kicks or nothing, so his only way of making this roster, his only way of making an impact is at the receiver position, right? We'll see. He's a young player. One person that I really got my eye on that I'm a little nervous about is Johnny Wilson. I'm a little nervous about Johnny Wilson because you look at Johnny Wilson, 6'6", 228, jumps out the gym, rangy, 24 years old, hard guy to defend just physically. I look at Johnny Wilson and I say to myself, you got all that size, but you're not catching the ball consistently. You're not catching the ball consistently. And look, he only had 15 targets on the season. He didn't get targeted much on the season. He did it. Let's call it what it is. He only got 15 targets on the season. But he only has 5 catches. 5 catches, 38 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, 5 catches on 15 targets. All those catches, all those balls thrown couldn't have been bad. There's a few times throughout the season where we felt like Johnny Wilson should have caught the ball. Some of them were contested catches. I'm not going to say it's easy because I never played the wide receiver position before. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like his job is easy. I'm not. And I'm not trying to compare him to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. Those guys are spectacular performers. But it's just sometimes I'm like, Johnny, catch the rock. Catch the rock, bro. Now, in college, that was something that was an issue. Being consistent, catching the ball, maintaining focused throughout the process of the catch. That's been something that's been a criticism of his coming out of college. And it wasn't like Johnny Wilson had the most explosive college career. I mean, his best season was in 2022 at Florida State, where he put up 43 catches in 13 games, 897 yards, averaged over 20 yards of reception, 5 touchdowns, averaging 69 yards a game. You know, that was his best season. Transferred from Arizona State. Then in 2023, 10 games played, 41 catches, 617 yards, averaged 15 yards of reception, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you know, he never really had the most explosive college career. He could block, though. He could block. And that is, it's needed. It's needed. For sure, it's definitely needed. Having receivers that can block that well, he's phenomenal at it. Let's not get it twisted. 6'6", 220, 230, whatever the hell it is. I get it. But at some point, you got to catch the ball. At some point. You know, when A.J. Brown and Anias Smith were talking, A.J. Brown said something that was interesting. He said, you got to focus on you. You know, only person you competing with yourself. He said, put your blinders on. Don't look to the left. Don't look to the right. Don't worry about nobody else. But what you got to do your job. He said, I don't care if y'all came in together. I don't care who it is. When he said that, it made me think about Johnny Wilson. When he said that, it made me think about Johnny Wilson. And also, I said to myself, okay, Anias Smith may be 5'9", 176 pounds. He may not have the easiest path to getting playing time because of his frame. You know, he could probably make an impact in the return game, right? As a punt returner or kick returner, whatever it is, right? He did that in college. But at the receiver position, his path isn't as his road, his path isn't as wide as Johnny Wilson, because Johnny Wilson, that size at the position is very unique. So I feel like coaches will really want to pour a lot more time into a Johnny Wilson, because if they could figure him out, he would be phenomenal. Whereas though Anias Smith, a 5'9", 176-pound receiver, there's nothing really unique about that. But I noticed that Anias Smith, regardless of his limitations, regardless of what happened his rookie year, he said, I got to get close to the greats. If I want to be great, if I want to make an impact in this league, I got to practice the same habits as the greats. Because when I first saw the clips from A.J. Brown's video, I'm like, who is that? I couldn't tell. But then when I saw the whole video, I'm like, oh, that's Anias Smith. And Anias Smith was open. He was transparent. He said, I ain't gonna lie. I had to really sit back and say, yo, I got drafted to the Philadelphia Eagles with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. He's looking at that as an opportunity to better his game. So when I saw Anias working out with AJ, but I didn't see Johnny Wilson. Now, look, there's so many things that go into that. I don't want to overread. I don't want to nitpick that. People got lives. It's the off season. Guys probably have their own process when it comes to training. You know, whatever it is. But as a rookie, as a young player, you want to stay glued to the hip of the guys that inspire you or motivate you, the guys in front of you. Anias, he's not built like AJ. They're going to have to play the position differently. But Anias said, I want to practice the same habits as an all-pro wide receiver, a Pro Bowl wide receiver. I want to practice the same habits as a Super Bowl champion wide receiver and A.J. Brown. As the best receiver in football, you want to be the best, you hang around the best. And I think they recorded that while everybody was in town for mandatory minicamp and OTAs. I think that's when they recorded it. So, you know, I don't know what Johnny's relationship is with A.J. Brown. None of us know. But clearly Anias is a relationship with A.J. Brown. He looks at him as a mentor. He looks at somebody as like a big brother. He's studying him. He's working out with him. You know, he's practicing his habits. But when A.J. Brown said, I don't care if y'all came together or not, focus on you. Does that mean Johnny Wilson isn't approaching his offseason with the same intensity? Who knows? I don't want to cast any aspersions. I don't want to cast any aspersions on Johnny Wilson because I don't know him. I don't know his life. I don't know his habits. I don't know none of those things. All I know is the results, the product. And I felt like he dropped a lot of catchable footballs in 2024. And I think Sweet Chin Music said something interesting. He said he's a 6th-round pick for a reason. I understand that, right? I understand that. But isn't it funny how with Johnny Wilson, we're able to say he's a 6th-round pick. He's going to take time to develop, right? He's going to have pitches to his game. But we don't have that same grace for Keely Ringo, who was a 4th-round pick. 4th-round pick, day 3 pick. Day 3. People say, hey, they drafted Quinyon, they drafted Coop, I don't understand how Keely couldn't get in the field. They don't trust him. They don't like him. I'm like, he was a 4th-round pick. You got to develop him still. He's a 4th-round pick. Now, every now and again, you got guys who break the mold, guys who are outliers, who are day 3 picks, who start day 1. Like, it happens all the time. But day 3 picks, they're both day 3 picks. Not day 2, not day 1, day 3. 4th-round pick. 4th. Once you get to day 3, it's pick'ems. Once you get to day 3, swing and a miss, swing and a miss, swing and a hit, swing and a miss, swing and a hit. You're all swinging. You're guessing. Day 3 is the biggest crapshoot of the draft. So there's people who fell to the 6th round who were projected to be 4th-round picks. There's people who got drafted in the 4th were probably projected to go in the 6th. Like, it's day 3 is such a crap. It's such a crapshoot on day 3. But my overall point is, I don't care where guys are drafted. Your draft stock means nothing at this point. You're in the league now. Once you get to the league, where you were drafted, I don't really care about. I don't really care about it, personally. Once you get that jersey number, once you get your helmet, once you rent your apartment, I don't care when you were drafted. You on the team now. It's time to make an impact. It's time to take advantage of opportunities. You feel what I'm saying? And it's going to be a long season. 17 games. If everything goes according to plan, it's going to be 21 games or 20 games. The Eagles are coming off of playing 21 games in 2024, 2025. This new season, everything, we're talking between 17 and 20 games played this year. When you're this good, conditioning, take care of your body is everything. But things happen. Jahan Dotson, what are you going to do when you get the opportunity? Terrace Marshall Jr., what are you going to do with the opportunity you've been given? Johnny Wilson, Anias Smith. Make an impact somehow, some way. Focus on the details. Focus on the fundamentals. That's do the little things. That's the only way it's going to work. Anias Smith and Jahan Dotson should be studying Devontae Smith. Johnny Wilson should be studying A.J. Brown. And then you got other guys. I'm only talking about those 4 guys. But when you get beyond Jahan Dotson and Terrace Marshall Jr., when you get beyond Johnny Wilson and Anias Smith, right? When you get past that, now you're looking at another receiver they brought in, Avery Williams, who's a return specialist. He's going to be competing with Anias, especially, right? You look at Danny Gray, Elijah Cooks. They got undrafted free agents in Giles Jackson and Taylor Morin and Darius Cooper. Now, obviously, when you see guys that got the like the jerseys with the 41s and the 45s, 42 and 46, whatever it is, like those guys aren't guaranteed anything. Those guys are, you got to You gotta be mindful when your jersey number starts with a 4 and you're a receiver. You gotta be mindful of that. Your days could be numbered if your jersey number's in the 40s and you're a receiver. Your days could be numbered. But all these guys have opportunities here. I think out of all the guys, obviously Jahan Dotson is the most safe. Jahan Dotson is the most safe. Wilson and Anias were drafted, but that doesn't mean anything. Terrace Marshall, 1-year deal. He's not guaranteed anything. After Jahan Dotson, everything's a crapshoot from there. If you ask me, it's a crapshoot. Let me get to some of these super chats, you guys. I really do appreciate the donations. Also, again, if you guys want to be like Kyle Kokorski or Fanny or S. Blunt or Alex, right, or Green Wingman, you guys can also donate as well. The super chat button is located at the bottom of the chat. If you want to donate to the channel, that's entirely up to you. You can do it at your leisure. It just helps this channel grow, helps me grow as a content creator, helps me pour into the content, helps me invest in the content. You see, a lot of you guys, a lot of you guys that have been watching my show for a long time, and I mean even prior to me working at Jacob Sports, I started this channel like in 2021 or 2020, something like that. But I had stretches where I was working on it, and then I got employed by Jacob, and I kind of put this to the side, and then now I'm pouring back into it like never before. This is the strongest our channel's been. This is the strongest Chalk It Up Sports has ever been. So a lot of you guys who've been locked in since the early days, you guys have seen the evolution of my set, my office, my workspace, all of the donations, all of the super chats you guys have poured into this channel. This is the result. Everything you see with this channel is a result of you guys donating and investing and being members, right? This is how I'm able to make this set, this office, look as dope as it does. You know what I mean? I believe in giving you guys an experience. I believe in giving you guys something stimulating to look at, right? So, even down to paying for StreamYard and making sure StreamYard is running at its full capacity and paying for other things to make sure that, we're pouring into the content, all of your investments aren't in vain. So if you guys ever want to donate to the channel, all you got to do is click that super chat or even do a super sticker, whatever it may be, totally up to you, you guys. Just know it's going to a good cause. You're pouring into this show here. Everything that you guys see is because of you guys. Everything. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Let's see where we are here. We got 48 likes. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button before you get out of here. All right. We got a few more minutes left in the show. Let me get to the super chat real quick. Fanny back again. She says, nothing against Johnny Wilson, but Dotson is more poised than Wilson. Wilson has the height for the end zone, but that's it. Hurts trusts Dotson more than Wilson with the 50-50 balls. Exactly. Dotson is definitely way more poised. I mean, you can't forget that Jags game where he had that crazy catch. You can't forget the Jags game. That catch was crazy. Very acrobatic. But I'm going to always reference the Super Bowl. Two big catches that he caught. Two big ones. Especially the dime down the sideline. I would have loved for him to get that touchdown, though. I would have loved for him to get that touchdown, but his knee was down at the 1-yard line. So it is what it is. But yeah, Dotson definitely has more poise. Dotson just comes off as a very calm dude in general. So, yeah, thank you for the super chat, Miss Fanny. I appreciate it. And once again, happy birthday. Alex with the super chat. Thank you, my man. He says there's a new clip of CJ saying Eagles probably won't win another ring without him, and glad he's in Houston. I'm not, bro. Talk about burning bridges, man. Talk about burning bridges. and just being for self. It's you say all of that, not considering all the relationships you've built in the building, not considering the brotherhood that you've established with your teammates. Forget the organization with your teammates. Like forget the organization, just your teammates. Like it's just your former teammates. It's nasty work. Like it don't look good. Like it's just weird, bro. It's just weird. It's being weird. And thank you, as Blunt. We won one before him. Like we won one before him, and we'll win one after him. Like I don't like when players make it hard to root for him. Like I rooted for CJ, even when he went to Detroit. I rooted for him. Like I hate when guys make it difficult. But it's his life. It is what it is, man. I ain't got nothing bad to say about CJ, man. I really don't. I think in his heart of hearts, I think CJ is a good dude, but a very, very unpredictable guy. He's an unpredictable guy, man. Mr. Forlorn says, man, CJ put it on the line for us. He just hurt for real. Bro, everybody put it on the line, bro. He not special. I'm sorry. Like, all right. I don't want to sound like he's not special, bro. He's not special, bro. Everybody put it on the line. Everybody put it on the line. He not special. Everybody in that building made the same sacrifices he did. Put the same stress on his body as they did. He not special. And look, I understand. It hurts. You got traded from a team you thought that you would be with for a longer period of time. It hurts. I would never understand that frustration. Matter of fact, I put you this way. Y'all think I wasn't hurt when Jacob laid me off? Y'all think I wasn't hurt? Let's put it on me now. Let's put it on me now. When my opportunity with Jacob Sports came to an end, y'all don't think I was hurt? Y'all don't think I wanted to crash out? Y'all don't think I wanted to start just saying any and everything? Things happen in life. Things don't go your way. Changes come. You deal with it. You deal with it. You be a professional and you deal with it. Like, nobody trying to take nothing away from CJ. Nobody trying to take nothing away from CJ. But nah, bro, you're not going to sit here and try to act like your contributions are greater than somebody else's. We're not going to do that here. We're not going to do that. We're not going to sit here and act like CJ's contributions supersede anybody else's. We're not going to do that. Nobody trying to change the work he put in. Nobody's changing that. The only person changing their legacy here is him. Talking crazy. He's the only person changing his legacy here. Nobody trying to take nothing away from him, for Lauren. Nobody trying to take away his work, the grind. We understand that when he was on this defense, the Eagles were they were tougher. They played with an edge. We know what he brought to the table. Like, who cares? Who cares? Nobody's listen, forget the word. Forget the words. He's the one that's undermining the work he put in here. He's undermining that. He's undermining that. Forget the words. He's undermining the work he's put in here. Because all he's proving is that the Eagles ultimately felt like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Yeah, he's talented. It ain't worth it, though. Here's why. Simple as that. Great player, not worth it, though. You know how many talented guys, not worth it? You know how many talented guys we've seen in sports and teams decided, not worth it. But regardless, though, you know, I kind of ran off on a tangent a little bit. This live stream is about the wide receivers. Let me finish up. Green Wingman with the super chat. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. He says, I think we take for granted how both Mitchell and Cooper played at Pro Bowl levels, that we expected that with the other lower draft picks. We forget that they are the exceptions to the rule. Yo, you're right. You're right. Quinyon and Cooper DeJean are anomalies. It's not often corners come out and play that well that early. It's not common. You know, Jalen Ramsey did it, right? Sauce Gardner did it. Patrick Surtain did it, right? But those are like guys that are drafted like in the top 10, top 50. Those are like first round talents. Like, I think Sauce Gardner. Let me see. Hold on. When was Jalen Ramsey drafted? Jalen Ramsey was drafted in the first round, 5th overall. Jalen Ramsey, 5th overall. Patrick Surtain was a top 10 pick. Sauce Gardner was a top 5 pick. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's not common. Like Quinyon. Quinyon was drafted first round, 22nd overall, right? So the reality is those corners that are drafted like in the top 10, like Ramsey, like Surtain, like Sauce Gardner, like those guys are exceptional. Those guys, no matter where they went, they're just going to play well. You know, when you start getting in the back end of the first round, okay, now you kind of like, you don't really know what you're getting at the cornerback spot. Is he going to be good? Whatever it is, like it all depends. There's so many variables that change. But Quinyon being drafted 22nd overall in the first round, and then DeJean being drafted 40th overall in the second round. I mean, those could have easily been misses. But Quinyon and Coop came in and they played phenomenal football early. That's not common. The cornerback position is one of the hardest positions to play. So, yeah, they are exceptions to the rule. Yeah. And like as Blunt said, if you want to also continue to support the channel, you can sign up for a membership. So I appreciate him as well for pushing that narrative. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So, yeah, man, the wide receiver position. I look at it and I say to myself, okay, all right. There's going to come a time where Jahan, you gotta step up. The ball's coming your way. Terrace Marshall, if he makes this roster, same thing. Johnny Wilson and Anias Smith. What's the upside? What are the expectations? Johnny Wilson is the one that I'm really going to be paying attention to. I'm really going to be paying attention to him because potential is a dangerous word, but I look at him as a guy that has a lot of potential. A lot of potential. Big Dog 5215 says, don't disrespect Q like that. He was supposed to be top 15. No defense, went for like the first 17 picks. That's why Q went 22. Okay, he went 22 because teams were prioritizing offense. Teams didn't feel like he was a home run pick. Sauce Gardner. I don't want to get into this conversation with y'all, man, because then it's going to sound like I'm hating. It's going to sound like I'm hating, and I'm not, because y'all going to try to spin it. But nonetheless, let's do it anyway. that draft, the reason defense went the way it did is because teams felt like defense was deeper in the draft so they could wait. Teams, guys like Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain, Jalen Ramsey, it don't matter what the draft class is. They're going in the top 10. They're going in the top 10. Quinyon, unfortunately, no matter how much I love him, no matter how great he is, that we know for him to be now, teams didn't feel like Quinyon's talent warranted a top 10 pick or a commitment of a top 10 pick. None of those defensive players, by the way. That goes for all, because I think that draft, like you said, the first 15 or 17 picks were like offense. Those teams clearly felt like the defensive talent didn't supersede the offensive talent in that draft at that point. That's not speculation. That was the results. That was the results. That's not speculation. The results indicated that those teams felt like they could wait on defense because the offense is where the talent was far in between. The results dictated that. That's not speculation. And drafting a corner out of Toledo in the top 10, that can get you fired. That can get you fired. You know what I'm saying? With all due respect. But Quinyon was drafted in the first round still, 22nd overall. Things like Q went exactly where he was supposed to go. He went exactly where he was supposed to go. Those teams clearly prioritized. Matter of fact, let's pull it up. I ain't gotta argue about this. Let's pull it up real quick. So let's bring it up on screen. All right. So this is the 2024 draft class. What you have in front of you right now is the 2024 draft class. Okay. You had Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Joe Alt, Malik Neighbors, J.C. Latham, Michael Penix, Roma Dunze, J.J. McCarthy. Look at all that talent, bro. You had the O-lineman, Fashinu. You had Bo Nix, Brock Bowers, Telis Fuaga. Latu was the first defensive player taken at 15. Then Byron Murphy. Then Dallas Turner at linebacker. You had Jared Verse at 19. You had Chop Robinson at 21. Quinyon Mitchell, like Sauce, like Sauce, Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Surtain. Those dudes is going top 10 any draft because they were so dominant in college. You know, in various draft boards, some people had Terrion Arnold as the best corner. Some people had Quinyon as the best corner. Some people had Cooper DeJean as the best corner. Some people had Nate Higgins as the best. Quinyon was the first corner taken off the board. Bro. Look, I'm not going to argue with you. The bottom line is y'all always taking something as disrespect. Y'all don't know what disrespect is. Let's get this back on screen. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're about to close out here. You guys have been phenomenal. Here's my final word. Here's my final word on the receiver position. You know, A.J. Brown, Devontae, we know what they're going to do. They're going to be phenomenal players. They're going to be dynamic. They're going to be productive, right? Now, in the event Smitty needs a game off or A.J. needs a game or two off, whatever the situation calls for, it's going to be so important for Jahan Dotson, Terrace Marshall Jr., Johnny Wilson, Anias Smith, that entire wide receiver room. That competition is going to be interesting to watch, and it's going to be so important for whoever wins it to make an impact. It's going to be so important for whoever wins it to take advantage of the opportunities. And even when AJ, Smitty are healthy, the ball come your way, catch it. There's going to be ready. Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. That's one thing I'll say about Dotson. He was always ready. He was always ready. So Terrace Marshall, Johnny Wilson, Anias Smith, especially Johnny Wilson, man, like big opportunity in front of you. Nothing is guaranteed in this league. You were a day 3 pick. The Philadelphia Eagles don't owe you nothing. You owe it to yourself to be consistent in your habits. You owe it to yourself. Try to make an impact on this team any way you can. You know, Johnny Wilson, he's a valuable blocker. Anias Smith, he's valuable on special teams as a return man, right? So get in where you fit in, make an impact, do the little things, and be ready for the opportunity when it comes. And it's straight like that. You guys have been phenomenal. You guys have been great. Make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. You guys have been phenomenal, man. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the donations. I want to give a shout out to everybody who donated today. Shout out to Kyle Kokorski, Fanny the Eagles fan. Also, happy birthday again, Fanny. S. Blunt, Alex, Green Wingman, Big Dog 5215. Thank you guys for donating to the channel. You guys have been great today. You guys have been phenomenal. Thank you for contributing to the show. And thank you guys for being loyal supporters of the channel as well. And it's straight like that. I have been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.